What's up, guys? John Sintez, Alex Rojas, Cutternation Baseball, Power Hitting Coach Rowe, Let's Win a Ball Game, Cutternation Baseball Podcast. It's just a podcast. We have a lot of things. We have a lot of titles. We've been doing this for a while. I have to sit closer to the mic, and I need to speak up, according to everybody in San Diego. My friend Alex, he and I have a bunch of awesome stuff coming up. I have just gotten back in town for a brief period. I'm leaving again. June was a blur. I was in San Diego for a short amount of time, but I was traveling. And then I'm excited because my guy Alex and I are going to do the first thing and actually give each other some daps up in person coming up. We will have some information for everybody because we're going to either do some content ideas as well as possibly a clinic. So I'm excited about because my new opportunity, which would be, I'll jump in. I have we'll keep it just a little bit tighter, but I am going to be joining the college ranks. I'll say that. I'm joining the college ranks. We're going to be having fun with some pitchers in the college ranks, and I'm very, very excited about this. First opportunity. Can't wait to really just start breaking down the organization, the team, and start jumping into the side of winning that I love so much. So, Alex, hello. How are you?
What up, big guy? Thanks for speaking up on behalf of San Diego. Didn't know that you were like Johnny Voice Box down there and they had to turn you up. I have, so it's funny that you brought that up. Just there's seniors that we have in the facility right now. And I was talking to one of them last night. And I was like, when was the last time you played in a game? He was like, 2 months. I am so bored right now. It was just really funny because he's waiting on stuff, right? We're waiting on commitment and like potential where you're going to go, right? So you're just kind of like hanging out, right? So I get that, but you've been in that boat for a few years here of like actually like winning baseball games, and now you're back into it. But like now you're at the helm, right? Potentially, right? So, but I'm not like, you've got the Padre scout team, so like you're kind of winning there, right? So what's been one of your outlooks on like you're working with these high level guys, right? As well as but you're doing it elsewhere now. Now you're actually on the field with these high level guys and watching them perform, watching them do the thing that we watch them train, but we don't get to watch them win and use it, stuff that you and I actually talk about all the time. So like, what's that been like watching high level guys do the thing that we train guys to do?
I love that we went here. My shout out to all the guys that on the 2026 pitching staff, everybody that I've met that, since about 7 months ago when I had the first tournament and all the new acquisitions that we had for our pitchers, everybody showed up prepared, ready to go. Even with the long seasons, the national circuit is no joke. Some of the best hitters in the country. Everybody's chasing velo, trying to show off, which turns into a dangerous game when straight
people are chasing clout, trying to take you deep. They're trying to have great games themselves. Like it's tough out there. Plus, I work with kids that are playing in the same tournaments that your kids are playing in, and I know how hard these kids are working and how bad they want to like do really well. Continue.
Yeah, 100%. And so, we had so many different amazing stories, right? I've got Spencer Krasner, who might be, an Andy Pettit. I really like how he goes out and attacks. He mixes the entire game. He's not afraid to, I think that I'd like to change the conversation, on pitch mixing. I think when you call people, lefties or certain things inside of that, I think what makes really difficult processes for hitters is when you have a guy that has 4 or 5, maybe 6 pitches, right? And I'm even talking like front door two seam, backdoor slider, back foot slider, like big curveball, like all of those things are a process that really control a hitter's ability to get on time, right? And big shapes and guys that throw hard and can mix the entire game is the same answer that has been forever on how you face people 2 and 3 times through. And so looking at what happens in the program, looking at how a lot of these pitchers like Spencer and Eli and Ethan Lee and Manis, like all of these kids that are SEC committed that are really, really good, it's fun to like jump on their side of strategy and start being like, you ever thought of this? You know? And I mean everything from like intentional shake throughs to stare downs to step offs to shake heaters to
Yeah.
intentional no leg lift out of the windup, like change your timing, you know, uh, and then on top of it, you know, really kudos to the kid. It's so hard to travel, go to a different field, different mound. I had a kid tell me today he's never thrown on a turf mound. Like he's only thrown on dirt mounds. He's from Miami. He's never really left Miami, and like of course there's no, turf mounds there. You know what I mean? And so the answers that have become so fun to watch in Major League Baseball, when you give those fun sequences and answers and strategies to these kids, it's fun because they start picking up on some more of these things, and now we're turning it back into a game instead of a dog and pony show. Even though that, we're still being like, hey man, you get 1-2 and you're gonna go heater. Don't be afraid if it hits the screen. I'm okay with that.
Right.
I want to see what you can do on that pitch.
Right.
Like if you get to a good opportunity to display your best fastball, go for it, man. Go out there and really try to display that best fastball. Hold on, give me 1 second.
You're good. One thing that I was thinking about when we were talking about strategy, or you were just talking about strategy, guys calling their own games, right? Are your catchers calling games, or your pitchers telling catchers what they want to call? Like, what's calling games look like for you?
What's really fun is we had PitchCom, and we don't use it.
Okay.
I was actually we played a couple teams like the Canes that had everybody had the watches, the whole team had the watch. I could see that as valuable, but there was still a gap. There was still time, and
Yeah.
I was saying I think we have our own sign system, just touches and verbals, and we have a couple of different things that make it really easy for me to communicate my ideas to the catcher. Um, and it's kind of fun. My pitcher looks at me too. There was one of my guys was looking at me and stuff and trying to like get my attention on things like while he was
Yeah.
doing it, because I'm like, well, I just pointed at him. I was like, yo, do whatever you want, go for it.
Yeah.
But what I think the benefit of not calling pitches as much has been the rhythm of the game. The defense is able to stay a little faster. The like seconds in this situation matter. If you go pitch clock and you go 20 seconds, right? Scherzer's really good at like keeping the pressure on and be like, if I'm attack, and you're getting a pitch every 8 to 12 seconds. The old school game calls for step out, timeout, slow the guy down, try to mess with his rhythm. But now, like the pitcher can really dictate and try to keep him. I mean, that guy can wait to 8 seconds. You know what I mean? But if I'm ripping pitches every 12 seconds, that's still good for me. That's a great time.
Mm-hmm.
That's not 25 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
So going even further of that, we have really, like when we warm up in the bullpen, I'm really trying to get these guys to start understanding the strategy from there, right? Like there's like your typical stuff where, if your guy throws hard, you really need that guy to throw 3 fastballs with the first hitter. It doesn't have to necessarily be in order, but in order for him to get taken seriously by the scouts, like he kind of needs to throw double heaters just to show that he's got confidence in his fastball. And if you can land that from the beginning of the game, that really sets the strategy against it, where you're hoping to get swings.
Do your guys get how their stuff works?
That's one of the things we talk about. Like, how do you tunnel? How do you play the game? We did a Zoom meeting before the summer, and I told all the guys I wanted them to bring me their Mortal Kombat sequences. Like, what's been the best thing? How do you play the game? And then one of the cool things that we started doing was early work, where like when we were in Georgia, we were fortunate enough to find a soccer park that was about 10 minutes away from the hotel. And I was able to get the van, take everybody over there 3 or 4 hours before the game, and go ahead and get our work in. And and guys are, it's fun because you can go either way. You can go, yes, sir, right? And be like, all right, we're going to get everything going. And there's a time for that. But I
Yeah.
think that when you're away from the field, it's way more lax on the ideas of stuff, and it works a lot better because you can go shirts off, you can do all kinds of things that just make it a little bit more relaxed, right? So I told the kids, bring the speaker, let's have a good time, let's stretch, run, throw, make sure we feel good, but also make sure that we are being serious about how we're attacking the game. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
one of the things that I saw in the benefit of that was like, there was a lot of doubt and worry about, can I do that? Can I throw? And then 4 hours later be ready if I'm a reliever. And what's
Right.
fun is, I used to think the same thing, but once you actually show them that it's actually way easier for you to understand that once I get loose and I've worked on it, then when I go to access that again, the arm's still there. It's still ready. Now, do I immediately start going 100% right away? No. No, I don't. What I should be doing is still walking into the water and going nice and easy, but you just got to make sure that when you are going, that you're continuing to follow through, you're continuing to be loose, and you're just progressing slowly through your power output of um, of when you're warming up.
Yeah, I think the the thing that I wanted to get at was like surprising amount of kids don't get how their stuff works. And so like a lot of these kids probably throw 89 plus miles an hour, 87 plus miles an hour. They can throw the ball hard, right? So like your stuff is going to be exponentially nastier just because you throw harder, right? So it's just interesting to hear how you're trying to get these guys to realize how to use their stuff, how the game works, how you can play tricks on guys, sequencing, timing, just like
I've
doing
got
the
a great
same.
example.
Yeah.
So I got this one kid from Miami. His name Gerald Barcelo. Gerald's a big body, big long Cuban guy, long stride, long arms. Really gets down the mound,
Mm-hmm.
hides the ball really well. Really fast, blurry hand through release. Okay, he was kind of holding the slider a little wrong. I was able to get him to match his spin orientation where his four seam and then his slider is actually spinning four seam now. So it really hides the process to the hitter. And one of the things we were talking about when he was throwing it is he kept hanging it. And then we really worked in that early work session of trying to get out front. And I was telling him, I want you to hit the catcher's toe. One thing he does really good is he can top shelf and he can bottom shelf. So we were working on two different types of fastballs where we're like, okay, you're going to aim fastball away, but if you miss up, I need you to go really the next pitch and try to go back down because then that hides the slider tunnel that if you get 0-2 and you do it. Man, this kid it looked like he was in cruise control. He was running fast, slow, and getting a couple foul balls because of his high spin, and then really threw that slider as fast as he could. And like he said, like there's no way he could throw for a strike. There's no way. It was that
You
easy
don't
for
have to
him.
if you tunnel it the right way. You don't have to.
Right, but like that's a feeling that pitchers know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're so on top of that
Yeah.
two strike slider. You're not necessarily trying to bounce it, but you know where the spot is.
Yeah.
And I think in 3 innings, I think he had like 6 strikeouts. It was a very, it just he had no. It was 3 zeros. You know what I mean? Couple pop
Mm-hmm.
ups, ground balls, strikeouts, like easy innings for the kid. You know.
That's so. One of the things that I just thought about was just like a classic. This is just like combat is combat, like strategy is strategy. In jiu-jitsu, there's like a very basic, normal way to like pass somebody's guard, like get past their legs and then get into mount, right? Or try to take their back. And then most of the time, people don't even know, oh, there's an arm that's dangling right there. I'm just going to take your arm every single time, right? And I think like seeing these paths to victories for these young guys is like, if you can figure out how to do a 28-year-old 3 to 4 year big leaguers like tricks at 17, you can just keep working on it, right? Like that's the type of stuff that actually gets you noticed because you're going to be able to build upon that instead of just having stuff. Because having stuff is nice, but like I wasn't even that great at baseball, and I could see stuff out of 97 miles an hour hand, right? You can see stuff, right? But that's because I was a catcher. Maybe not every other hitter can do that, right? Didn't mean that I smoked it. Didn't mean that I couldn't hit it. But it was more the idea of like, okay, I get that. Like, okay, I see that. When you start fucking with people's eyes, like going up and down, in and out, like throwing stuff not for a strike, it's hard to handle. So to kind of smoothly transition, right? So we were talking high school. So the last time you and I talked, we talked about college baseball. It's been like forever, right? LSU won the national championship, Coastal, phenomenal, right? Give me your thoughts on any pitching performances you liked. Obviously, we saw the no-hitter, right? We had Cade Anderson as well, who's like, he might be 1-1 in a couple days, right? That could be a thing that's happening. Tell me, what was a favorite of yours in Omaha? We haven't chatted about it.
There was, there was definitely a lot of trends, right? Like we had, I feel like LSU did a really good job of mixing the different pitching styles to the
But then
hitters.
it always came down to Shorzy in the ninth. They always brought out
Yeah, and
Shorzy
that
in the ninth, bro.
guy threw more sliders and heaters, which is crazy. You know what I mean? So, and even then, like people were on his slider and and there's as I've gotten older and played against higher level guys, there's a lot of hitters that are like, if you throw a hard slider and a hard fastball and a hard split, like it's kind of the same. I can really be on your timing and foul it off and do things and kind of work you down. So then you make a mistake and when it's up and we can go from there. And that's what I kind of feel like with Shores. Like sometimes you just see guys and it's like same thing, like you're saying, like, how does your stuff work? And then you're watching, like, you throw 99 with this slider and people barrel you? Like, what's going on? Like, I feel like even I sent you the video from, I don't even know how to say that guy's name. Let me say that guy's name real quick. Hold on. His name is Lance Brodowski. Okay, Lance Brodowski. Shout out Lance Brodowski. He's always putting out some really good, informative baseball savant content. And he was talking about extension and how certain pitchers that get beyond 11% of their extension of their height, it directly affects the perceived velocity. But the other thing that it still comes back to the thing that doesn't make sense to me, right? If you measure missiles, like they don't measure in velocity, they measure in time, like milliseconds, right? So flight time would still be the best way to measure this to make it more common, because then the extension would change and we could understand why. He still didn't go into Aroldis Chapman because he has the highest extension of everybody, and has been doing it the longest. So with Mazeroski getting extension too, it's interesting that people are calling him a freak. I want to see, with all the technology that we have to replicate against him, including like video of his timing that you can slap onto a robot and watch him, and his spin rate and his extension. I wonder how long until people figure it out. Because
short arm leverage. That's the counterpoint. Long leverage versus short leverage. Long moves weight, but short's quick. If all I need is quickness, like if we go feet per second, right? Like an arrow that I shoot moves at 277 feet per second. That's 186 miles an hour, right? If you can just figure out what the feet per second is to get the idea of actual like time, guys can get on their blast sensor like what the time is to be like, oh, 0.15, that's what I need to hit this. Okay. Like they can figure out how to do it. Like guys can do it. They just need to know the right information. The miles per hour is hard. But like if it was feet per second, so kind of go with the two guys that I think are the best two short-armed hitters I've ever seen, Jose Altuve and Manny Ramirez, number one and number two in all-time postseason ding-dongs, right? Like, weird, right? But, like, short-armed guys, like Manny's 6 feet listed. He's not 6 feet, right? That dude's 5'11", 5'10". He is thick, though. Like, he's a big, like, thick-based guy. But, like, his arms were super short to the ball, and his counter was David Ortiz, who was known to get jammed. Like his most famous hit besides the home run over Torrey Hunter is a jam fucking single, dude.
Yeah.
Because he had long arms. But what happened when his long arms worked? Like, Big Papi, right? Helicopter, wow, right?
Yeah.
But, like, Manny had 130 RBI as a career average, right? We were talking about that yesterday. But it's like, he hit everybody. Like, it didn't matter. Like, once he figured it out, he was just, like, playing stupid. Like, he'd walk into the box. What count is it? Like, I don't know what fucking count it is. Like, yeah, you do. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're so smart. Like, the dude's a genius, right? but it was more the idea of like, I had this thought the other day. The bigger the hitter gets, the harder it is to hit. Like, I would love to see Jack Caglione versus Miz. Of course, what would happen if Miz makes a mistake? But, like, dude, Shohei even, like, he had 2 tough at-bats after Miz made a mistake, right? But, like, it's just, like, the length of those guys I don't think is conducive. I bet Mookie versus Miz would be kind of a fun one because Mookie's 5'9", right? His hands to the ball is so quick. So I would just be interested to see the counterpoint to that argument, which is like,
well, didn't you watch the Dodgers? Didn't you watch the Dodgers against the?
I saw Shohei hit the 1 bomb in the first at bat, and then he went down in 2 battles.
So he throws this like gyro sweeper. So it's like a cutter that just takes off
at 96.
And he got Mookie to swing one in the left-handed batter's box.
Yeah, of course. But again, it's like, okay, so this is just me saying what I'm saying. It is not fair because you're looking at it in a vacuum, and it's like they've never seen that before. Like, you give that guy 10 at-bats, it's like, and I know 10 at-bats is like a lot, but it's like, dude, that pitcher is like, he doesn't know what he looks like, honestly. Like,
well, that's the part. We're talking about the same thing. Like, the longer in the league, the better people see you better.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even
that's
even
the
with
point
the Chase
of playing in the league.
You know? Yeah,
like, you got to do it for like a while, bro. Like,
yeah.
But also, Mookie's 33, so like Miz is 22. Like, bro, you only got to beat Mookie for another 5 years, and you're still 27.
Right.
Like you're gonna be okay. Whoa.
You know.
Whoa. What was that guy's name? Lance.
Yeah.
So one of the things he talked about in his video that you were talking about was the bell curve, right? And this is something that you've said before, and you're the only person I've heard besides my boss, the owner of TPC, talk about ball in flight time. So why, obviously, say the obvious reason. Why is it good to have more extension, John?
The less time the hitter sees the ball, the harder it is to hit.
Okay. Now, can you... I know you're not a short guy, but you've been teammates of short guys, right? How did they do it?
You know,
like a Roy Oswalt. That dude was gross at 60.
Well, I mean, you know, he had real crazy extension. This is one of the things that I was going to bring up about that is like he was even though he was short, he was still a long levered mover. You know, he had a really wide base, and he would get his arms fully extended, long, short, long, and go through that process.
He had long leg drive. I remember that. He had like a long...
I also think it helps that if you have a little sticky on your hand, that you can hold the ball a little easier on that extension point. That might help.
A little sandpaper feel? That might
be a little thing that I may or may not do. We might learn that at the collegiate level.
Oh, man.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's really fun to see that process, right? Like, looking at all of these different ballistic ideas, how people throw, who's successful. You know, I mean, it comes back to the same thing. Like, people, I love even this guy. Like, why didn't you compare him to Chapman? Like, he's by far the best pitcher that's been in our game for the longest. You know, and like, he's had a couple
104 this year, right?
Yeah.
37, hit 104.
Yeah. 37, 41, whatever, you know? No, it's just amazing to really watch the game evolve from what it is, and now seeing these younger kids coming up. I mean, I do have some extension guys that the perceived velocity in myself. I'm an extension guy. I really want to know. He showed in that video the percentage. I'm going to go look at my extension. I think I'm 7.3, 7.4. So like the Indians would love me, you know, and my approach angle and height I feel like is different also, and that's my favorite thing. You know, I'll blow 85 by a guy, and you know, and they'll come with the old that was 85. Like, that was not 85. You know, and it's so common that I hear that story when people are facing me when playing ball.
Well, there's the hitter's mind. Like, we anticipate like 85 should look like this. 88 looks like this. A curved ball at 75, or a breaking ball at 86, a fastball at 97. Like, you've got definitions of shapes, and like, it's hard to explain, but they exist. And baseball players know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you have a preconceived reality, and when a pitcher violates those terms, it's like haunting you. You're like, what was that? Because you almost feel like you're like brand new again, baby. It's like this idea of like you're looking down this way, and then you see a shape, and you're like, what was that? And that's the spin rate, that's the release height, that's understanding like how your tunnels work. And I think that's one of the things that these kids who are like, I posted something on my story today, right? Like, Ben Joyce supposedly threw, I would love if this is true, threw 65 as a freshman in high school. If that's true, hell yeah, right? Like, good for you, dude. But also, it goes with the idea of like, he was probably doing so many things wrong for him to be throwing at 65, or he just randomly grew as big as possible and he just was Anthony Davis, right? He just he was a point guard, then he grew 9 inches. He became a center that could dribble like a point guard, right? I'm just using that as an example. But the point that I'm trying to make is like, I think there's a lot of kids that like, you got to find a way to get your extension, I think, is ultimately what your job is as a pitcher. And it's almost counterintuitive as a hitter. It's like your job is to figure out how short you can make your swing and still be effective to counteract that. Because that was what Ichiro was doing. He was so short to the ball, he would make the ball hop twice, basically.
Yeah, I think that's what makes sense when I see Luis Arise or Tony Gwynn is like their contact point, but their bang bang timing is so much later than everybody else. Which I feel like would have been a really fun. And I mean, I faced a ton of contact guys in Mexico. That's like all all they're trying to do is shoot either stay up the middle or backside. So once you can figure out those two little games, like,
which is why that first baseman for the Nats was kind of sick. He was this Mexican big donkey.
Totally, yeah.
This was another question I had to ask about, like, so when you're like establishing the understanding of extension with guys, obviously guys understand extension, but like, is it something that you can actually work on and improve, or are you just born with what you're born with?
It's funny. I get increase in extension all the time. It's a style. There's a trick to it. There's a thing.
That's interesting.
Mazurowski, he does it. He actually stalls. He doesn't create a full circle in his arm swing. And he's also not keeping his back hip back. Like I don't necessarily know if there's anything natural anymore, because even when people throw, like, and kids grow up throwing, like as soon as they watch other people throwing, that starts influencing what they're doing. So what is natural and what is informed, it's really hard to say.
That's a good way to put it. Like, that's a really good way to put it, because there's no way he's natural, because he's been watching and training and doing all this.
Exactly, and he's 88. He was 88 to 90 in high school, and also much.
When did he start throwing 100?
So when he got with the Brewers pick him up. There's a story on the Brewers pick him up. He was a super tall chesty, kind of like Kumar Rocker when I saw him, with no chest extension, and then some guys have this hip mobility, and he, on his lead leg, if you watch him doing, he's basically doing an RDL. So he's throwing a dead zone, no vert fastball, but it's got vert because his release height is so low.
Sure.
So that's what's giving him the release extension. But it, in turn, you are super vertical, so it's hard to make things go to the right. So I'm really interested to see, once hitters start figuring out that they can like hang out over the plate because it's either straight or this way. I haven't seen him. I was going to watch him and Skeens pitch, but I got busy doing something. I don't remember what it was. But, being able to get that process going early is really beneficial, but I tell people all the time, a lot of people come in and they're like, I need to make things go arm side. And I'm like, you could just throw fastballs inside. Like, you don't have to make it go arm side. You can just throw it over there. It's
That makes
just
sense.
as effective, you know?
That was one thing. I was catching a bullpen, by the way. Shout out to anybody if you're in the Bay Area and like this isn't for guys that are throwing. If you make me block like crazy, hell no is going to be my answer. But I'm catching free bullpens for guys. So if you want to book time in the facility and you want to work on your stuff, I'll come catch you. Right? Just let me know. DM me on Instagram. I was catching one of our high school guys, and one of the things that I was noticing was he was trying to cross corner his four seam so hard he couldn't command it. He's just trying to dot up just a four seam on the outer half. And I'm like, bro, you have a riding fastball, right? Like, you should just try to blow it through someone's elbows. And he's like, what? I'm like, just do it. And he started hitting his spot a lot better. And regardless of how hard you throw, then you throw your hammer curveball that comes out of the same window or your slider. Now you actually have something to work with. And then I'm like, throw your two seam on the outer half. Because if you miss, no harm, no foul. But if it comes back, like, you know what I mean? Like, now that guy's like, fuck. Now you're 0-1. Or if he takes a chance on it, what's he going to do with a cross corner two seam that's working away from him? Like what's he going to honestly do? If he does something to it, like, great job, bro. Like, awesome piece of hitting, right? But for the most part, like, you have that, right? None of that's arm side. It's here or it's there, right? It's like, I think a lot of guys could go with the idea of, if I could figure out how to bury something under your elbows and make you respect that I can do that, I don't really need to go arm side as much as people think that they do. But you got to make guys lift their elbows. You got to make guys go, oh, shit. Like, if you don't, like, it's not going to work. Because if a guy's
moving the hitter's hands and moving the hitter's feet are some
very
secrets
important
to playing the game. I told
That's
you
why I
that
would
last
never
year
move
when we won the
over.
World Series. I'm pretty sure that's why the Dodgers went and got Tanner Scott, because they figured out that he scared Ohtani, right? Because he threw those two heaters at Ohtani's hands, and he went, "Oh no!" And then after that, he was like, "Absolutely not! I don't want nothing to do with that." Next thing you know, next year he's with the Dodgers. I'm like, "Oh, that was real weird."
That's so great.
I've been playing those games for a while. I mean, the amount of Venezuelans that I've pitched against that just hang out over the plate on purpose, and if you throw inside, they like jump and make a noise and go, ah, and the umpire gets distracted, and then it's a ball. So there is no inside.
Are you okay?
Like that.
No, I got scared.
Yeah, I thought it was going to hit me. So I went, that was a strike. No, it wasn't. What do you mean? No, it almost hit him. No, it didn't. He didn't move. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think one of the things that I did pride myself with was I never lifted my elbows. I would suck them in and turn because I'm like, I'm not gonna like do this, because once I felt like I did that, like it was almost like yeah, you can hit me in the stomach. Like if you were boxing, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, just go. Don't hit me in the head. But you can hit me in the stomach. It's like, no, that's worse. Like he can still finish you with like a body shot. And mentally, it's just how my brain thinks, right? It's like, plus to go with the idea of like, once I've started to elevate my hands, if that ball does start to tunnel the other way, because he's kind of established that, what are you doing? Like, but if you just try to keep it tight, you're like, oh shit, you can fucking at least like try to fucking just touch it, right? But once you've gone there, like you've just decided, like I'm not swinging. It's just such a, you know who did that the most that I always was like, I thought it was dramatic and I love him? It was Jeter. I always thought Jeter elevated his elbows and I was like, calm down, bro. It was like an inch inside. But it's
he was
also
doing the same thing though. Like he would blind the umpire with his arms.
It's a game. Yes.
Like I see him do that all the time.
Dude, that's another thing. I've made kids, like I'll have them go like, can you come stand where I'm standing? And I'm throwing BP to them. And I stand in the box and I'm like, this is what you look like. And they go, oh. And I'm like, I don't care if you do this, but do you know that it looks like this? And they'll be like, nope. I'm like, this is what, like, your arms are hanging over the freaking plate, dude. And you keep wondering why you're getting jammed, and now you're pulling off. So now we got a bunch of stuff going on. But all you had to do was understand what you freaking look like when the pitcher's looking at you to be like, I'm going to throw it inside.
I have a theory on this. I have it. You just brought me to another thing. I think this is death by side angle because it's the same thing. It's all over the
Side
internet.
angle's not the money, man.
Death by side angle. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
Well,
Now
like,
you're
which is so funny because
flat.
then we watch baseball. We watch baseball from behind the pitcher, right?
Wait, and really, and you know what? I would argue no, because we don't do that unless we're
Well,
watching.
it's like
We
shortstop
really watch
side.
it behind home plate.
Yeah.
We really watch it behind home
Yeah,
plate.
right.
That's the best angle.
Well, I was talking about like visually how we actually.
No, I know. I'm with you,
baseball, you know
but
what I
like
mean?
when we go to the game,
Yeah.
though, everybody's behind
Yeah.
home plate.
Yeah,
I would
it's true.
if you know what I mean. If they did a better job zooming in like that, it would be so much better. Instead of putting the umpire cam here, like just zoom in on that little. Put a camera like right there and zoom in.
We need a hockey experience. We need like a backstop that's like on the umpire's ass with like plexiglass.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you could just see just like the crap, dude. People would wince if they could like actually see. Okay? Do you know how many people I think would start playing baseball that would, if they could be like hockey ice rink close to Jack Caglione's 460-foot
VR.
Nuke?
Get a VR camera right behind that thing where the catcher is, and you're in there, and you actually see what it does.
Like catcher, umpire cameras, not bad, right? But like they're moving so much because like they're trying, because there's a lot happening, right? But like you need a camera that's like committed to like, we're gonna break this camera. Like if this thing gets hit, it's broken. Like it's so close. But like if you guys go to my Instagram, like what I did with one of my catchers, you got to get that close to understand it, because that's the catcher's point of view. Because when you actually see a barrel, like, and it's a no doubter home run, it kind of is shocking. Like, when you see it in front of you, like, oh, like and then sometimes you kind of see it coming, and you're just watching a car accident in front of you. Like that's like that's when you see the catchers just like stand up, and they walk away, and like, well, that's it. Like I'm done here. Like this game's over. But nonetheless, you know what? I feel like there's a theme in our podcast. You know what it is?
What?
We are constantly, and this is the problem with high-level baseball people, not just guys who like watching the game, but guys who like watching the game and are still involved in it. We know way more problems with why people don't understand the game. And a part of it is how we consume it. Like we talk about consumption of baseball, and whether that's social media, going to a game, like it's all about how you consume the game. You know what I mean? So like, and I don't know if this is true. We're gonna have to have a Grok AI Chat GPT listen to our podcast, but I guarantee every single podcast we talk about consuming baseball. Not from us, but just from like the idea of just like, do you know what would be better? Like, do you know, like, I promise you we do it once, or like, it's like Barry Bonds. It's like once every 3 podcasts, like we're pretty consistent.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
I feel like apparently you and I are going to have to create the next MLB. We're just going to have to we're going to have to like rob Saudi Arabia itself. Just go in there dead of night, just take all the money. Because like, if we had.
No, this is, yeah. If it just, exactly. Go ahead. No. Just shift that idea. Instead of just MLB, come get us. We can help.
Right.
And then now go. Now tell them what we can help with. All right? Ready? Go ahead. Just bring us on. You're a giant. You got all the money. You got all of it.
We got all the money.
We can help. We can really help.
Like, dude. Like,
let us talk to some video people. Let us talk to some of your guys.
Hey, you know what was cool that I don't know if you've seen it was, I think it was Traject or Trackman, when they were doing, like, I think it was Father's Day, Sunday Night Baseball. And they had a Trackman ESPN cast on ESPN2 with the nerdy nerds talking about, like, all the stuff. And then on ESPN, it was, you know, your John Miller, Carl Ravitch, like it was normal baseball, right? Mm-hmm. If they did that, but they did it with, like, dude, you have to do it with the Dexter Fowlers. You have to do it with the, dude, you got to get Greg Maddux in there, like talking Like, and just be like, now watch what's going to happen in his second at bat. Like, just go. Like, you need John Smoltz with a TrackMan, and like that would. Oh my god! Because how many like my favorite moment in baseball TV is John Smoltz predicting the Bryce Harper home run. Like, it gives me chills. Like, he's just like, he's like, Lance McCullers going to throw him a breaking ball first pitch. I'm spitting. I'm so excited. I can't keep my excitement in.
Yeah.
And Bryce Harper does exactly. Loud noise is what he said. He goes, and Bryce likes to swing big. If he gets one, loud noise. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that's, if you could consume that moment, right? Oh my God. Like, that is coffee. That is just.
And I'm gonna jump on top of something we've also talked about before inside of it, right? The people that are on TV that are talking about the game. I think MLB is also making a mistake with the color guy. I just need two baseball guys, two people that have played the game. I don't need some other guy.
You know how many entertaining baseball guys there are?
Right, exactly. Because it's always what it is. It's always like somebody and Dallas Brayton, and then somebody and CC Sabathia. And then like
that one guy may or may not say something that may or may not get him in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, I mean, CC Sabathia was talking about doing a paid Patreon, like where he would announce the whole games. I'm like, genius. Absolute. I'd listen to that. If you went full, protection mode, say whatever you want. Oh my goodness, that would be, because that's the best part, sitting in the dugout with all the high level guys and everybody's good. You know what I mean? Like, that is easy for us to knock out for sure, and sit there and be unapologetically real about our own guys. Really, like, oh, he always, if he throws back foot, like, I really love breaking down my own lineup to our own pitchers. I'm like, well, if he goes back foot again, it's gonna be a problem. And sure enough, it's back foot, it's a problem. And then the guy comes in, and now I'm sitting on the rail just trying to watch the anger happen as I see how does he take off his put his helmet in, take off his thing, put that in, and then put that in. Like, that's my favorite. And then don't make oh, he saw me. That's like one of my favorite pitchers, And then maybe a couple innings later, you just walk over and you just put your hand on his back and you go, it's going to be okay.
You're right. Okay. You're right, Doug.
You're okay. Hey, you still look great. I always go with the uniforms fitting real good today. Just want to let you know.
Hey, when I strike out, it never looks that good. When you strike out, it looks really good, bro. That was a good looking strikeout. That's one of the best lines in movie history. When I strike out, when you strike out, that was a good looking strikeout.
One of my coaches said, you just brought me back to a good one. One of my coaches was like just softening. That's what you're talking about, softening. Hey, you stayed on both feet. You stayed on both feet. I was like, oh, it's true. Hey, that guy fell down to a knee. You stayed on both feet. You stayed on.
Way better than that guy.
He slipped. He fell to a knee, but you stayed on both feet and struck out. You know what I mean? Like, you got it.
Oh my God. Oh. I don't think that the rights to baseball consumerism are taken seriously. Like, one of my favorite stories, because this is a good one to end, like, kind of round out the podcast. I don't know when I heard this, but I am 99.1% sure. There is a 0.9% that this is entirely fabricated, but I don't think it was. I was listening to MLB Network, and one day they were talking about, like, early in the World Baseball Classic, like 2009, right? Jimmy Rollins is at a nightclub with some guys, right? And I heard this story on MLB Network, right? Somehow something happens. There's ladies in cages, type nightclub, right? Next thing you know, Jimmy Rollins is glow sticked up in a cage going Terry Crews in a cage, right? Dancing at a nightclub, right? You're telling me you don't want to hear that guy announce a game? Like, that guy would say some fun stuff, right? And, like, dude, to kind of go with another Philly, John Kruk, says some of the funniest things I have ever heard in my life. And that guy is a career 300 hitter. He can do both.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right?
I've heard him. He's a big fan of like strategy to the funny punchline. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, dude had, I think, 2,500 hits. Close to it. 2,000, I'm pretty sure. Like, even if you have, I would say if you get 1,500 hits in the big leagues, like, that's pretty damn good, dude. Like, that's a lot. Elite is 2,000. Anything over 2,000, you're like, it's hard.
Shout out Manny Machado for getting his 2,000.
Shout out Manny Machado. Also, shout out to the last thing I'm going to end this. Boys and girls, I know we like exit velo. I know we love distance. But there was a 5'11", 170-pound Japanese man who took baseball by storm. And he had 1,000 hits in 5 years. Okay? John and I did that math yesterday. Okay? He had 1,000 hits in 5 years. Let's talk about it, okay? Like, that guy is as good as anybody else has ever played the game, and he could probably still play in the big leagues right now. Like, he trains every day.
Hold on. You putting this is going to be a clip, right? Now I need you to say, who is this? Don't say who it is. Like, literally ask the question. Just like, who is this?
So, who do you think had 242 hits in their rookie season and has 5 of the best all-time hits in a season performances? Who do you think it is?
It would be our man, Ichiro Suzuki.
Who just went by Ichiro. By the way, everybody who's 30-year-old or older, you know, we all did that. Every one of us did that in AB. Every single one of us did that. And we felt
But listen, who did it first, though? I want to know who did it first. Is that Jim Thome? That's a little Jim Thome. Probably. It's a little Jim Thome.
Yeah.
Because even Jim Thome had a little, you know what I mean? But his was a little bit more at you. Like, hey man, sup?
He had a little bit more of like a fencing quality to it. Like, it was kind of like on guard. You know what I mean?
It was a different sword. It was a different sword.
It was.
A samurai.
Yes.
It was a little bit more pokey.
Like, and to kind of go with that, Jim Thome would be like a broadsword. It's like, bro, you might block this, but it's still going through you. Like, it's still going to destroy you. I am a man. Ichiro had this like he knew where to. He was a Tony Gwynn of 2000, but even more so to the point of like he knew how many bounces he needed to beat it out. In my head, like in my head, he knew. Okay, that's bouncing twice. It's going to bounce a third time. I'm safe. Like he was. That's all I'm going to say. The best hitter in terms of contact I've ever bared witness to, and he supposedly could hit home runs as long as the day is. He could just do it. Like, he just knew how to do it. So we need to celebrate.
Watching him, he was the third time through home run guy, I believe, a lot of times. A lot of times he would get his homer in the third time through. And also, really revolutionary in video also. I'm pretty sure there's a story about him, like, adding video cameras to the ballpark in Seattle so he could get some different angles that would help him with the pitchers that he was facing, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no. It happens.
So I'm good. That's what I wanted to end on, big dog.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, buddy. We'll get this all packaged up and out. I appreciate you breaking the streak. We'll get this out. It's been growing, guys. Thank you so much. I was checking some stats on the podcast. Spotify seems to be our highest one, and YouTube. So thank you guys so much for following. Always a pleasure, Alex.
Thank you, John. Have a good one, brother.